Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the CryptoSparta Podcast. We got the merge, and
Yeah, some stuff has happened. The merge, some macro opportunity, or some macro news, and yeah, we're just gonna get right in it. Like Bitcoin and ETH have been on a dip below 20K. We're at 18. We're at 18.7 right now. 7 days down 15%. So dropped to another level basically from 2100 or 21,000. It's dipped to like below 20,000.
so right underneath 18, there was a support level that got dropped, and it seemed like people were a bit leveraged and yeah, just like
ETH is also just like declining 7J,
and
25%.
the Bitcoin ETH seems like paired but also, I mean, the stocks have also
Well, yeah, Dow had one of the worst days of the year, or like, in a while, like down 1,800 points, whatnot. Don't quote me on that. But it's like crazy
these are all normal and to be expected.
macro.
It's not to be overreacted, but it's kind of like a sign of the times.
Well, the inflation data also came out today, and that was like, that was bad news, and that
It's still
caused
hanging, even though the gas
gas
prices are
prices.
lowering in the United States.
Inflation is still pretty high. It's still at 8%.
8.3%.
Yeah, 8.3.
Now,
So,
unofficially, and those numbers are
so
been much
yeah.
where those
So,
numbers have been
and that
juked.
was also like speculation of what Powell would do. Like, well, he's gonna obviously continue to raise rates, but he wanted to keep things under control. But like, data has not
No, it appears that
said that.
there will be another full percentage, which is like 1,000 basis points. Basis points are just a fraction of.
So buckle up, y'all. So it's like even all
Uh,
this news is not really.
I mean,
It's not changing the price. Like right now, it's not enough to change the narrative. Like the merge was a huge thing, and is going to be great for Ethereum in the long run. But in the short term, it's just like there's that transition period, obviously, where it's like
no, and
you
people are at the
need
whims. However,
to
there does seem
align,
to,
change, and
and
align yourself.
you know that I've always been like one of the guys who's been like the flippening. When does ETH flip Bitcoin? The case has been strengthened.
No, the case of restraining, but I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. Like
No, but
it's gonna
the case
like
has been
be out
strengthened.
of. It's gonna be very a lot. Definitely is time to watch crypto now. Like after the merge, like what's gonna happen? It could dip lower, and that could be a buying opportunity. And then also like it could overall overhaul itself and then be way more efficient and then like increase the price. Like
So what I've been telling Brian about like the macro trends, and I didn't want to go down rabbit holes, but it appears that the transactions for large central banks, such as like the European Union and the United States, the traditional energy flows are going to like be really strained.
Europe
Now,
is fucked, man.
yeah, it's what I've been saying for a long time, but like we don't want to like dilly dally with what the news is because it's kind of like there's just a few stories where it's just in the macro things look relatively poor. I heard that Europe and Germany had secured enough to like heat the homes. However, I've heard that the increased prices are going to be passed on to consumers. But I had heard things from India as well, where in India they're saying, "Hey, Russia, you need to chill." And Russia is kind of like they thought they'd get what they would want to get. Really,
They're losing the war right now.
yeah,
So
and
it's
and
like
then they're hurting their own people, but they're really hurting the European people.
Putin's
They're like
army
people are not
is
gonna
not
like
as
Russian
strong.
people
Yeah.
for a long time. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
I mean,
sad.
even on the like if you follow tennis, like on the ATP tour, like people do not like Russian affiliated people.
Really.
Yeah, where it's like,
And
oh,
it's not their fault
yeah,
that they really just like are like
yeah, they are
they kind of just cut them.
like even associate like Belarus, like the Victoria Azarenka, like people, she hasn't said anything about the war or commented on it, and
Well, she might be
people
in
are
danger of commenting. You don't want to
exactly.
comment against.
But it's also people saying from the other side saying it's like the fact that you're not commenting means you're like kind of too soft. You don't speak up, and it's like you're soft. And I like no action is like says something more than any action. Where it's
That's like oddly. I mean, I think it feeds back into it. So it feeds
where
into
like
the
it
politics
show,
about
yeah,
different
it's
like
politics.
transactions. There are the countries that have outlawed crypto because they don't want their people to put things into like, a store of value. Argentina, Turkey. Um, there are more and more countries that are having capital flight. And what I had gotten into with Brian is
What do
about
you mean
having
by capital flight?
where they don't trust the central bank of their country to be able to, manage their finances correctly. So we've been seeing that there be CBDCs and there'll be increased regulation. I mean, this is a recurring topic between Brian and I. Do you feel that there'll be increased? Gary Gensler had said though they're not going to say that ETH is going to be a security, which is kind of like a moment for
I mean, no, it posed that it's more certain that it could be a security. It's the opposite.
On the flip side,
Because
though,
that
the
they're proof of
Coinbase
story.
team, and the lawyers that they donate to, it appears that the right to privacy is going to be taken to crypto. So if
Yeah.
Tornado Cash,
This could be potentially like a Supreme Court issue.
so Ross Albrecht, I remember hearing his like 4-minute recording at the Bitcoin conference a couple years ago. Is like
He's the one that did the baptism.
Well, he's like
Bitcoin baptism.
Yep. And he was the guy who's like the martyr, And then it's like Ross was for those who
Sailor too.
yes, for what people don't know, the original marketplace of the Silk Road where you could just trade everything with Bitcoin anonymously. And now he's in jail for 2 lifetimes, I believe.
Ross Albrecht?
Yeah. Ross Albrecht, the person who was Pirate Bay.
He went so far.
But apparently what the government says was that he had tried to hire people to assassinate journalists trying to track him down.
Jeez.
And apparently he did some illegal stuff. And you know what? I'll go on record and say I am kind of like in the spirit of his things, but in terms of like the legal case, I see both sides, and like I think perhaps he might have done things that were incorrect. But the spirit of what he stands for, but some people are like, he should be free. And I'm like, okay, let's look at the facts.
Yeah, whatever.
Ross
committed millions of fraud, probably.
Well, and I mean, the government clamped down on him, and now they're saying that they're going to clamp down on Tether.
We'll see. I mean, like there's also been like inklings like Vitalik saying stuff about Tether how it will collapse. How it's just like one of the they refuse to ban anybody related to the Tornado Cash who have like interacted with Tornado Cash, which is like kind of good. But like people have been saying that it's not built to last and that it can easily just crash, which is very a scary thought since every single stable coin that we've encountered so far that promises like good rates is gone essentially. Like bye Luna, no more 15%. Like
people really don't understand how much that really ruins some people's lives.
Yeah, people were banking on this, kind of move too.
Well, it was supposed to be safe.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're, putting money into stable coins. And you're lending to other people for a 20% interest rate. And then Do Kwon, I mean, he's going to jail, right?
Yeah, I mean they got his passport, or like he's in hiding in South Korea. Like he can't go anywhere. They took away, like they fled his passport, They're closing down his like estate. Like, I mean, he's still tweeting too, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But like more about the merge. Um, it was a huge event. Um, we got
Staple to pause.
all right. Yeah, this merge is the merge happened this Thursday, Friday morning, where we talked about how it officially changed from proof of work to proof of stake. And that just made and to force all the like miners and like people that have their nodes to switch over, they increased the difficulty in the problem solving for the ETH mining. And so it's crazy. Like that's what kind of contributed to ETH price decrease. So like ETH is basically at 1,300 right now. And so the mining has usually from one day people mine at least like 23,000 like altogether conglomerately, and now that has decreased to only 300, and so that has caused like the price of GPUs to decrease because people no longer need uh to use that much computing power to, or like the cost benefit is not worth it anymore. And so it would take
They had
way more GPU power in order to get very small amounts of ETH.
they had William Shatner saying that Ethereum went green, and it really was a giant sea change because the way that Ethereum used so much less energy to kind of do the same thing. They still run a decentralized, like a lot of applications. Some of the details though are that there's a lot of validators that have staked ETH that are like waiting to unload.
Yeah.
The price went down, but then it bounced back up. But there's some
I mean,
play.
it's still at 1,300. It's pretty down.
It's pretty down, but it wasn't like all of the staked ETH got dumped.
Yeah.
There were some people that dumped. Obviously, that's what's going to happen. So people were staking for ETH 2.0. Now that there is ETH 2.0 and proof of stake, there has created a fork. Some people are supporting the old versions. They were getting into the
people are mining Ethereum Classic right now.
Did Gary Gensler make it a security? Is this going to be a problem? Are financial markets like going to cause a problem for Ethereum?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, no. Like Ethereum's going to keep on chugging.
Well, we'll see. I mean, like I don't know. I think like I mean, we'll do shows later, but like yeah, I'm still looking at my price raise for ETH.
So the ETH Bitcoin rivalry has like always been there because Ethereum is like supposed to be, the one that'll flip in Bitcoin and prove that Bitcoin is just kind of whatever. And this will tie into my show as well.
Stepping stone.
It's a stepping stone because Bitcoin was the original, but is ETH now in position to overtake Bitcoin? And then what does Bitcoin mean? Is Bitcoin just traditional? Is the technology now changed? The amount that they have reduced in terms of electrical output.
You can't just brute force, problem solving and expend electricity anymore. Because right now
governments of the world,
well, the governments are looking into crypto's effect on the environment, and you saw
in Iran they had very cheap electricity, and then they had to cut it off because people were getting
governments
blackouts.
Are writing reports on electricity use regarding crypto, and
they'll find the usage. Yeah.
So that's why.
But I mean, I think we delved enough on that topic. Let's do NFTs a little bit.
Yeah.
In terms of like each week we try to talk about NFTs, and I wanted to talk with Brian about how there's NFTs on Solana and Cardano. It's just like everywhere. There's like
shout out Champions Block. they're running a horse racing platform on Cardano. They got several races. They're creating a marketplace. It's like you can breed horses. Like NFTs are different, attributes. So they're really doing things. They're choosing to build on Cardano, and you gotta respect
In my notes, I just have the idea of metaverse where it's like there are NFTs on so many chains, but ETH kind of like really hammered its dominance. But I think that really we've been doing it just for the love of the game for a long time. And if there's anybody out there listening, it's like for the love of the game where there's going to be a metaverse, and how many people are there out there caring about these things? But there are people out there that are like buying these NFTs on these random chains and chasing,
raising the floor when it has no business rising.
yeah, doing
Like,
NFTs on like different chains. But might as well just like wrap it up and hit to the shows.
yeah.
So
So I think like fundamentally ETH hasn't like changed. It's like just growing pains transferring over to a new network or a new mechanism. And so ETH dipping right now to like 1300. Like everyone, Food the Panda, like Arthur Hayes predicted a dip from 1800 to 3000 or like 1400 to like 15, 1600 or 16,000. And so like I think you can get ETH sub 1,000. You just gotta watch. It's like now that the merge has happened, now it's time to be alert and like
so what kind of trader are you too, where it's like you might as well, if you have savings of 1,000 a month, maybe buy 200 of Bitcoin, like accumulate in case it bounces, but like just wait. The weird thing is
it goes further.
Nah, this is where the whole
Bitcoin, unless you can buy a Bitcoin or more, like to me, it's not that worth it. Like if I had if I had like 20,000 to invest, I would just buy one Bitcoin, and just see what happens.
So I'm gonna do my show, and I want Tsuka where I'm just gonna like act like a total shill, where it's like, guys, everything is like hopeless. The people in Korea and around the world agree. Let's just shill some random stuff and to the moon. Everybody doesn't care anymore.
Create our own marketplace.
No, these are scratch offs. Yeah, exactly. These are instead of doing, and that's the weird thing where do you believe in leverage? Do you believe in love after love? Like Binance 50x, Tsuka, yeah. or doing calls for stuff, but it seems like things are going poorly. And I was telling him maybe we should get like ammo and
buy some silver coins. He's like
silver coins.
telling me to like get silver bars and silver coins. Because you might crash, but that's till next time.
Yeah.
And so,
but we'll survive. Yeah. We'll survive. Good talking to you guys.
Grinding.
Shout out, Smithy.
Positive.
Thanks for listening,
output,
Smithy.
Like,
yeah.
Life's good. Just kind of enjoy it. Look, our time will come. Our time will come.
We're all gonna make it.
We're all gonna make it. Watch price now that like the merge has happened. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. So that has been the latest episode of the CryptoSparta Podcast.
CryptoSparta Podcast. Goodbye.